All right, folks, welcome to Nino's Corner.tv. I'm back again with Juan O Savin. Hey, Juanito, thank you for coming on. I know you're very
Yeah,
busy right now.
yeah, such is life.
Well, Juanito, let's talk about first ICE. There's a lot of things happening with ICE. There's mayors telling the residents to stay in, governors going against Trump. What's going to happen to these people? I mean, they're impeding ICE from doing their job. I would imagine that's against the law, and I would imagine you can go to jail for that.
Well, yeah, it's not just go to jail. You can be involved in a federal crime, and if you're sentenced, the sentencing Tory, it doesn't get flipped around. It's a federal crime with the things that they're doing to interfere. So, if you're sentenced federally, mandatory sentencing guidelines. So there's no out early for good behavior like that. So all the people involved in this have to really think about what's going on. And then if they're not U.S. citizens and there's questions about how they got here, then once they get picked up in this way, they cannot come back into the country. They are barred for life, is the way it's going to be. So they have to really think about if they want to play this game or not. And
So,
you know,
well,
go ahead.
Trump, they're calling it now the national police force, the domestic military. Are we going to see these guys on the streets? I see them all over El Paso right now. I was driving up in Sunland Park with my dad, Sunland Park, New Mexico, and I saw them on foot, almost like troops walking around, and that kind of threw me off. But is it going to get to the point that we're going to see like a police state to where there's checkpoints and things of that nature everywhere, like checking your real ID? I mean, are we looking at a police state coming here?
Well, look, if it has to go to that level for a period of time, it will be temporary. It won't be long term, and it'll be spotty. You don't have enough ICE agents or police or military to cover every square foot. It's going to be zones, and they will be for a period of time while they, target certain areas, and then move on. And so, and as it stands, those mayors, those people that are protecting certain groups, um, you know, there'll be the places that actually will attract more um, surveillance and enforcement. So they're not actually helping these people. They're creating a zone where they're self, uh, um,
It's the
you
objection
know,
here. The object here is to get them to self-deport.
well, we're ramping up, yeah, so that they understand what's going on and that uh, they will think again about just leaving and have the opportunity to come back and not put us through all that trouble. But if they're going to force us to go to all that trouble, then they're probably going to stay gone for the rest of their lives. So don't make us have to go to this much trouble. In fact, the ones that self deport go through the process and get to come back, and the people we want to have around because we've been allowed to screen them. We're not, we're going to continue to take in immigrants, but they have to come through the front door. They can't sneak in, and it's
Yeah. So
better
there,
for
so
them
what? So
too
Trump
because
is not against a certain color of people, creed, nothing
now,
like that.
that,
It's about if you're legal or not. If you're legal or illegal, that's it. That's the bottom line. That's all it is.
yeah. Well, think
So
about it. Those people that are here illegally, they got to look over their shoulder the whole time, and they're also vulnerable to all kinds of abuse by the people that may help them get here, know that they're here illegally. So they're looking over their shoulder the whole time. We want them to be here on the straight and narrow and, be Americans. And most of them do want to do that. We're going to, besides the sending people out of the country, we're going to have the largest immigration surge in U.S. history, but it's a few years down the road. And we'll bring the people that are leaving right now. They get to start signing in, looking for dates, and get to the front of the list to come back. The ones that are dawdling and hiding under the bed and trying to be sneaky, they'll probably get picked up, and that'll be it for them. It's just the way it is. So, they have to make a
so
decision. Am I
are
going
you?
to
But
try
are
to
you
work
telling
with the
me,
system or against it?
Juanito? So we are going to have a quote unquote police state for a while for what, a year until Trump's out of office. I mean, this could take a decade to clean up, couldn't it?
Well, I don't like to use those terms. That's like a hot button way of saying it. So those people that want to have drama and how horrible and just amp it up for those kind of bullshit. Um, uh, we're going to clean things out, and we're going to go to the hot spots where most of them are, get the low hanging fruit, and work out from there. And the people that are smart will work towards self-deporting. And then if they want to come back, which most of them do, they will begin the process of coming in through the front door. And the first people out will be the first people back in if they want to come back for them, their kids, their family. Uh, and it'll be slow at first because all of our assets and tools are aimed at, getting everybody out. But as things settle down, then we will also be bringing in larger surge. Look, as the economy picks up at the far end of what Trump is doing, and it's going to pick up, it's going to be the greatest economy in the history of America and most of the world. We're going to need and want those employees at all different levels to be able to work across America. Um, it's not a one-sided thing, but everybody has to go out so we can get nice, clean understanding, slow everything down for the moment, make sure we got everybody out that's not supposed to be here, and then we can open it up hard. There'll be some early stuff. I mean, the people first out are going to get advantage of a system that's not overloaded necessarily. When the big surge comes a little bit later, yeah, it's going to be loaded to the gills. We're going to have to amp up those services, and that'll be the tail end of this administration because we're going to have such a red hot economy and such a solid currency when we go back to constitutional money that everybody in the world is going to want to be here. And we're going to want those people to be able to work with us to get things done. So,
Are we going to be able to? Are we going to be able to have these people take jobs that will coexist with AI? I mean, isn't AI getting ready to take over all the low to middle jobs?
no.
Okay.
Okay, look. The reality is there is a lot of jobs that AI can do, and let me just use this as an example. Um, uh, when we got the first digital recording systems for documents and paper and everything, I had an interest in a paper company, and I remember the board meeting where a number of the people were complaining that because of what was happening, paper was history. And it was a waste of time having money in the paper company. And they were pulling out their family wealth, if you will, and going other places and warning everybody else they should do the same. And they wanted to just toss these facilities and take a loss on the facilities for a tax position. In this one particular case, and I talked with the head of the union and the head of the factory floor. This is a huge operation. And the number that they were able to get this at was so low that it just, as I talked with them, I said, it's going to take years for this to actually build out. And I think you might do better than ever. Especially because the employees would own a share, and in this town, they needed to, the jobs were critical, and you could have killed this town, killed it deader than a doornail. And so the employees took a part of the deal, took shares for part of their pay. Union worked with them. The supervisors went in there, and I think there was just two of the original big shareholders, big ones, that stuck around. And I was tiny, but I stayed in there because there was a reason why I was in there in the first place. And that company did fantastic. They sold more paper in the next many years because what they found out was that with the storage of data digitally and the way that that happened, the demand for paper went up. It didn't go down. If you have greater efficiency with the AIs, then it means there's more money left for other things. You become more efficient as a group and a company, and there's more jobs, not less. There's going to be a continued growth in those industries that become more efficient. Even if you have AI and bots, there's a lot of supervision, coordination, human activity that goes with it, whether you like it or not. And there was another location with a factory that was dealing with aircraft stuff and the warehousing, all that. Okay, that plant was amazing to go pick up parts and move them on. It only took like 35 people with the robots and the AI and everything else to handle this huge storage facility that was like, 10 football fields. But the other side of the coin is the company had more money for research and development, and so they pushed other departments, and they didn't fire any employees. They retrained a number of them for other positions, and they had the luxury to do that. They didn't want to let good people go. So I think it's a bit of a red herring on that. I think the world becomes, yes, it changes. Some of the jobs might change. I doubt very many AIs are going to be rustling cows off of horses, and you have AIs that monitor, the feed, the temperature, densities, all sorts of things, whether you're growing plants or growing cows. It just allows you to be more cost effective and keep people. Otherwise, you might lose them. It would go to India or someplace else, and we're going to keep that stuff here and do better with it. So I'm not down. I'm extremely bullish on where America's going from this point forward.
So Juanito, it says here that a judge has blocked. Here we go again with these judges, man. Birthright citizenship. How do these? I want to know, how do these judges? I thought that was going to quell down a bit. I thought that was going to be neutralized a bit, but it looks like it's still going pretty heavy.
Well,
a lot of judges are still blocking. Go ahead.
If they're neutralizing citizenship where you have anchor babies. Let me use the example over in Guam right now. You have companies out of China that bring women to Guam when they're 8 months pregnant or sooner out of China, and then they have the baby there. The baby now is in a protectorate of the U.S. Guam, and so they have U.S. citizen status, and that's become a major threat to not just Guam but to the country, including with voting and things like that. And so, with the long range perspective from a Chinese, political side, they're creating an army of U.S. citizens that have all the rights of U.S. citizens by birth, and yet they're going to be raised in China, and they're going to think like the communist Chinese, and then turn them loose into our university system, our country. And that's been going on for quite a while. We're already seeing the effects of that. That's been going on for a long time.
One, my mind goes to this, and I don't think people can blame me for thinking of this. If you talk to like someone like David Icke or Hegelian dialect or whatever the equation is, problem, reaction, solution, I think of, Biden was the problem. The immigrants come in, they got the desired reaction from the Patriots, the Americans. Now here comes the solution, which is a domestic military, also known as police state. Is that, do you blame me for thinking of that? Obviously, a lot of my audience is probably thinking that. We're like, wait a minute here. This looks like a police state that's getting ready to be birthed here with a domestic military, checkpoints, all in the name of our safety, getting the criminals off the road. Now, I don't mind this, to be quite honest with you, because I'm not a criminal. So I have nothing to worry about. But it is kind of I guess you could say an impediment on an impeachment on our privacy. I mean, on our rights. What about Americans that get stopped or pulled over and ask for their documentation? I mean, that's kind of, am I right in saying that? And they'll say, well, it's all because of the immigrants that were here. Sorry. I mean, it just seems like it's the correct, has all the right ingredients for this problem reaction solution and this police state that I feel like could be happening. And do you blame me? I mean, a lot of people think this. They're kind of worried about it.
Well, uh, vigilance is the price of liberty. And so, yes, we have to be vigilant on this. But, you know, a crime where the bad guys are on foot getting away or the car or whatever, and the police come in and they close off streets, they turn the dogs loose, and they go in to find the bad guy. Is that a violation of everybody else's rights based on, them running around and trying to stop this person, catch them? I'd rather have them in there doing that. They have all sorts of legal rights in that kind of a situation to control a certain zone while they go find the bad guy. And it's for public safety. Um, in case you haven't noticed, while not every person here that didn't come in legally is, some horror, uh, there's a number of them that are that we have to get. So you have a crime scene and that we have to go through certain processes to find them is legitimate, lawful, defensible. Public safety's in the balance, and so yeah, let's go do it from a public safety standpoint. Then we'll come up with what needs to be done uh, to protect our safety. If it becomes longer than is appropriate, then we can complain and make a big deal as citizens. But a reasonable period of public safety um, within an area is absolutely. You're not going to win that case in court. You're just not.
I just, I think to myself, I'm not worried about the cleanup, Juanito. I'm wondering, do we also need to have our chess pieces in place with this big, beautiful bill, Palantir, the whole thing, in order for not only the mass deportations but arrests?
Well, again, why you got a lot of people in this audience that are fussing and complaining because things aren't happening fast enough. The reality is, you are having to challenge a lot of people that are in the system. Are they actually doing stuff on behalf of American people, or is it a little club and a clique? And in a number of very important positions, and down, down through the ranks. And so, and even up to Trump getting the bill signed, now the money begins to flow and starts to get released these various places. Um, Trump is still not got the workforce within the federal agencies that he's trying to put together. I would say at a bare ass minimum, you're talking 3 months to 6 months till that finally gets more fully in place. And along the way, they're going to bring on new aspects, click, 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 and you'll see it gaining momentum. Trump, you know, did the executive orders, the executive findings, executive actions at a very rapid pace early on, which has allowed that things got rolling. But that doesn't mean that they're done or that the people are actually there. Um, and because we're on the main line, I won't say other stuff, but there's things that are clicking right along very quickly, and that's part of the frustration for President Trump. If you look at what he's accomplished thus far and how he's put the globalistas on their heels, and they're not getting away with some stuff that they really wanted to get away with. That's a big deal. I mean, we're making amazing progress. We just are. It's stunning. So, a big shout out to President Trump for what an amazing job he's done thus far. Take a breath. Take a breath.
Juanito,
You know,
no, I want to ask you about this cell phone surveillance detected at an anti-ICE protest where I think it was called Project Stingray. Mobile network anomalies consistent with with cell phone surveillance were detected at the July 4th protest at an Immigration and Customs Enforcement field office in Washington State. These anomalies, according to an independent analysis by Straight Arrow News, suggest that a device known as 𝗬𝗓𝗍𝗂𝗁 catcher may have been used to collect identifying information on the cell phones in the protest site. ICE did not respond to the request for comment on this situation. It is not clear whether ICE or any other law enforcement agency obtained a warrant to use 𝗬𝗓𝗍𝗂𝗁 catcher, commonly referred to as Stingray, to conduct this surveillance. I mean, that's kind of impinging on our rights.
well, okay, let's
I'm just watching the pendulum goes really far
hold on a
left.
second.
I don't want it to go so far right. We're losing all our rights here in the name of safety.
Okay, so let's think about, the name of the news agency straightforward. You know, really? Um, are they, ultimately centered within a Patriot side, or are they more centered in a protect uh, the people operating, let's say, unconstitutionally for real? Now, they're claiming that the use of the stingrays is somehow a violation, unconstitutional. If it was targeting individuals, uh, they probably would have to have a warrant. If it's done within a more generic sense to tie to other locations, remember, we have a lot of the leaders of, for example, let's say BLM or something or similar. We know exactly who they are, what their involvement is over many years, and they've been being tracked. Many of them actually already have indictments that have been handed down by grand juries.
So has a lot of these bad players, these bad actors, been scooped up already, Juanito?
Well, a lot of them
organizers of these
up.
of any kind of go ahead.
Well, a lot of them haven't been scooped up, and the reason is because you had people interpreting, for example, civil rights over at the Justice Department differently than what Trump is going to have the people looking at. And very, if you will, leftist kind of a perspective. From a conservative perspective, the Civil Rights Division was not actually doing what it constitutionally should do. Now, certainly that's arguable, and people are going to argue it, but Trump got elected for a reason. The people of the country want things enforced differently and see the world differently. At some level, it's like I had to deal with somebody, I don't know, 3-4 months ago. And this was, one of those things where they sound reasonable and rational right up to a certain point, and lives are on the line. And the other people were kind of, just going along frustrated, whatever. And I said, wait a minute, stop the crazy. Okay, just no more crazy. I don't need the crazy talk. Lives are on the line, and we're not going that route. So we either get real and we figure out how to stop the killing, or we're going to go at this a different way. But we're not going to just play this game and have people dying while people are playing the game. Now, something similar happened with Zelensky and with Putin. Trump said, okay, I want a ceasefire, and then let's figure out how we can do this, and America will help, and we'll dive in and help with getting infrastructure built, but you're going to pay us back, and we'll try to stop this. Stop the crazy. Stop killing. Stop using this as an excuse to be killing each other. How are you going to work out a peace deal while you're both killing 1,000 people a week on the other side? and making people even more distraught and upset and creating blood feuds for the next 100 years. Just stop it. Stop the crazy. It's the same thing here within our government. There's been some kind of crazy that has been allowed to get to a point where that's why the American citizens stood up and elected Trump. They don't want what was being stuffed down their throat by people that it just isn't making sense. So that we, you know, are calling it for what it is, and Trump, offered all those people go away, you know, go get another job, but you're not going to have a place at the Justice Department. You're not going to have a place at a lot of these other agencies. They did just that. They left. Now getting other people into place that will enforce the law constitutionally in a more classic sense. That's what Trump's doing.
All right, Juanito, before I get to the next question about Epstein and Iran, folks, get your collagen, baby. Oh, yeah, the science is in. A clinical trial found that just 10 grams of collagen a day for 8 weeks led to a roughly 20% increase in skin hydration and a 17, there's that number, Juanito, 17% improvement in elasticity while also visible reducing wrinkle depth. If you want to help improve your skin health, it's clear that collagen is the essential. This is why I use this secret magical powder, and I'm obsessed with the results, folks. Multi-collagen provides my skin with 5 types of premium collagen to help attack wrinkles from every angle. I'm seeing smoother skin, more elasticity, fewer fine lines, and a more youthful glow, folks. Plus, multi-collagen mixes smoothly with my morning coffee or tea. There's no clumping and zero added flavor. Do yourself a big favor and grab yourself a bag of ageless multi-collagen now for 51% off only at Health with Nino. Plus, by ordering today, you'll also receive free VIP life, health, and fitness coaching for life, a free ebook titled The 14 Foods for Amazing Skin, and a 60-day satisfaction guarantee, and free shipping with your order. Oh, yeah. All right, folks, get on it. Get some collagen. I try to make these commercials as entertaining as possible.
Well, I will tell you, with the collagen, I really had an amazing results with it, with the because I have a couple of injuries with where the short, the small muscles and the fat twitch muscles were the collagen. What was recommended to by one of the big sports that is a trainer for one of the very big quarterbacks that's now retired, and a great friend. And it was amazing how I had fought this for years and then used the collagen within about 3 months, man. It was just stunning. I mean,
no, it's amazing stuff. It's amazing
it
stuff.
really was. Yeah.
So, anyway. Juanito, let's talk about Iran for a second. Now they're sending out threats. Trump could face drone attack at Mar-a-Lago. You want to talk about that for a second, and then we'll go to ninoscorner.tv and talk about the Epstein list and the victims and why we think that maybe it could be used for leverage or come out at a different time, why Russiagate's popping now. But let's talk about Iran right now.
Well,
I mean, they're saying that they didn't get all the uranium and there's some left over, and now they're saying it looks like Iran is back in the spotlight with threats.
Well, again, part of the reason that the U.S. needed to step in, who was going to get credit for having destroyed this nuclear threat to the world? There's a bunch of people, Trump's doing Putin's bidding, blah, blah, blah. That's really not true. I get it, but the reality is, no, we had the capability. We had the only armament on the planet that's currently in play that was capable of taking out those nuclear manufacturing sites. And we did. And we didn't save Israel. We saved the whole world. Because if Iran has people able to threaten with drones at Mar-a-Lago and one of those drones and made it in there. And by the way, I had very important meetings over the weekend. And one of the subjects that we were discussing is the missing nukes, which have been very, very, very heavily documented and with high-up officials inside of Russia working with us that are missing out of the Russian nuclear arsenal going back quite some time. And there's a variety of them. And part of the reason that's so important for everybody here to understand, some of them from many years ago were reported from within the Russian system to have gotten to Iran. Some are bigger than others, was Kurlov, the general who was killed in the scooter attack. Kurlov was one of the most trusted people. And over the weekend, I spent time with the person that Putin personally asked to come to Russia and try to bring a deal back to America to help secure their nuclear armament and some of these weapons. Person with an impeccable reputation. Nobody is shooting him down on where he's at, what he's done, and but on the U.S. side, it was rejected. And this effort was rejected, and it's very disturbing that our policing and military agencies and the politicians in play at the time did not want anything to do with this effort. It's perplexing. So at the end of the day, Iran may very well have some other nuclear devices that came out of the Soviet Union, and some of the materials that they were working on could be used to freshen those up and make them more functional right now. This is important because when we destroyed those sites, America stopped Iran from being able to put those in the Congo, somewhere in South America through Venezuela, into Cuba, to a dozen places, Yemen, and other places around the world that they might have been able to fire it in the missile. And some of these devices are quite small and pretty easy to conceal and to move them in. It is a sum of all fears type of a situation. So America stepping forward and dealing with that threat, the whole world can breathe a little bit of a sigh of relief, because Iran was threatening not just Israel, but the whole world, the whole world, the whole world.
And now we've neutralized that threat.
And we haven't neutralized it. We've pared it back radically. And if you remember, before the election, and I told your audience, I think before anybody else said it publicly,
we're doing so good.
Okay, what all those drones were for in the 6 months before the election, that were all over the country, and what they were really doing. So, and it relates to this. So, deep breaths. We're not done with Iran, and Iran's not done with us. But we've reduced the threat. What, we were supposed to live under this perpetual threat forever? What brainiac thinks it's smart for us to just not challenge Iran? They're not just forever.
Juanito, you're breaking up pretty bad. Let's just go to the back channel from here, Juanito, to ninoscorner.tv and discuss. Juan, you're breaking up real bad. Can you hear me? All right, folks.
Yeah.
All right.
Juan, I apologize.
It's all right. You want to go back to ninoscorner.tv and talk about the Epstein list, what it could be used for, and get on top of that. I want to talk about Elon Musk as well. You want to go to ninoscorner.tv and do it there, Juan? All right, folks. I'm going to try to get him with some better reception. We'll be on the ninoscorner.tv. I'll see you all there. And go to thejennifermack.com, thejennifermack.com. If you know about Juan, you know this is a common occurrence. This happens quite often. He's always traveling. He's always on the move. So, yep, he just cut out. So, all right, folks, we'll see you at ninoscorner.tv.